You've heard the stories. Helltown, Ohio, a place where the line between the natural and the supernatural blurs, where the air itself feels thick and something unexplainable. It's late at night, and you find yourself walking the narrow, winding roads deep in the heart of the cursed village. The moon is just a sliver in the sky, casting ghostly shadows through the towering trees. Your flashlight flickers, and for a moment you freeze. The night is silent. It's too silent, as if the entire world is holding its breath. You take another step, and suddenly you hear it. A creak, like the hinge of an old, abandoned door. You whip around, heart racing, and catch a glimpse of something. Not quite human. A shadow flits between the trees. You want to run, but your legs refuse to move. And then you see it. It's Ryan from Twin Paranormal, and he's planting evidence. Helltown, Ohio, once known as Boston, Ohio, has become one of the most infamous urban legends in the United States. Cults, haunted buildings, chemical spills, mutant creatures. Its reputation is legendary, but how much of it is true and how much is just a twisted version of reality? Today, we're taking you deep into the history, myths, and the eerie stories that have made Helltown, Ohio a place of fear and fascination. We'll separate fact from fiction and explore why this abandoned village continues to send shivers down the spines of those who dare visit. But before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the little bell icon, that way you're notified whenever we upload a new video. I appreciate you guys so much for subscribing so far. Let's get straight into this. The history and abandonment. To understand why Helltown became the epicenter of urban legends, we need to go back to the beginning. It wasn't always Helltown. In fact, it was a perfectly normal village called Boston, Ohio, founded way back in 1806. For over a century, it thrived as a peaceful, rural community nestled in the Cuyahoga Valley. Families built homes, businesses flourished, and the town seemed destined for a quiet, uneventful history. But everything changed in 1974. The U.S. government, under President Gerald Ford, enacted the National Park Service eminent domain, intended to buy up the land for the creation of the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. The residents of Boston, Ohio were forced to sell their homes and leave everything behind that they had known. The government's promise was clear: this land would become a beautiful national park. However, the park was never completed. What was left behind was a ghost town, a village full of abandoned homes, buildings decaying under the weight of time, streets eerily empty of life, and this is where the legends began. Nature took over, and so did the darkness. Helltown was born. Over time, rumors started to circulate. Why had the government really bought the town? Some believed there was more to it than just a national park. Why else would an entire village be evacuated and left to rot? People started whispering about hidden experiments, government cover-ups, and sinister forces at work. So, this is outside of the script, but there's a theory that the national parks are a cover-up for something. That there are cryptids in the national parks that the government's trying to hide from people. So, just let that marinate in the back of your mind. It's Ohio, you know, we have the Grass Man and the Minerva Monster and like one other version of Bigfoot here. So, just saying, if you're a believer in those things, I believe in Bigfoot, but I'm not saying that the town was forced to abandon because of Bigfoot, but you never know. The satanic cults. Yes, there are rumors of satanic cults around that. As with any good urban legend, Helltown's story soon took on a life of its own. One of the most persistent and terrifying rumors involving satanic cults. According to local folklore, after the town was abandoned, it became a breeding ground for dark rituals. People claim to see robed figures gathering around bonfires deep in the woods, chanting in ancient languages and performing rituals. Some say these cultists were even responsible for the deaths of several missing people. Those who ventured too close to the abandoned churches reported seeing strange symbols etched into the walls, pentagrams, skulls, and messages warning outsiders to stay away. Stories surfaced of hikers who went missing, only to turn up days later in a catatonic state, their minds broken by whatever they had seen. And then there were the rumors of human sacrifices. But let's look at the facts. While many claim to have seen cult activity in Helltown, there has never been any verified evidence of such rituals taking place. Police reports show no signs of human remains linking sacrifices, and most of the sightings remain unsubstantiated. But urban legends don't need evidence to survive. In fact, the lack of proof often makes the stories even scarier. The very idea that something sinister could be happening just out of sight is enough to keep the legend alive. The abandoned school bus. Then there's the abandoned school bus, a haunting relic left to rust on the side of the road in the heart of Helltown. According to legend, the bus was once filled with school children who were brutally murdered by a madman, or in some versions by a cult of Satanists. The bus still sits there today, overgrown with vines and eerily quiet. Visitors claim that when they approach the bus, they can hear the laughter of children, or sometimes their cries for help. And if you get too close, you might even see shadowy figures in the windows, watching, waiting. But what's the truth behind the bus? Some believe it's simply a vehicle used as a temporary housing by a local family before they were forced out during the government buyouts. There are no records of any tragic incidents involving children on the bus, yet the legend has grown, feeding off the eerie image of that rusted, abandoned vehicle in the middle of nowhere. Still, would you be brave enough to step inside? I wouldn't step inside. You'd probably fall through the floor. Get your tetanus shot up to date. I mean, they're good for 10 years, but you better make sure you got that thing on you. End of the World Road. Next, we come to the so-called End of the World Road, tucked away within the winding hills of Helltown. This is one of the most mysterious and often visited locations. According to legend, there's a hill on one of the roads that appears to drop off to nothingness. Drive down this road at night and you'll find yourself at the edge of the world. Thrill seekers have reported that they approach the crest of the hill, the road seems to vanish before their eyes, leaving them hanging over an abyss. Some say that phantom cars follow you, their headlights appearing in your rearview mirror only to disappear when you turn around. But let's take a more rational look at this phenomenon. Experts suggest that the end of the world road illusion is nothing more than a trick of perspective. The steep incline of the road combined with a sharp drop creates an optical illusion that makes it seem as though the road disappears. But that hasn't stopped the stories from spreading. That reminds me of Silent Hill. You know, like when you get to the edge of the town, the road just kind of cut off and drops into the abyss. Centralia, Pennsylvania often gets a lot of credit with being the basis for Silent Hill, but I think Helltown would also be a good stand-in for Silent Hill. That's just my thought, though. Chemical spills and mutant creatures. One of the stranger legends surrounding Helltown involves chemical spills and mutant creatures. The story goes that the US government wasn't just interested in creating a park, but was actually hiding a catastrophic chemical spill in the area. According to this version of events, the toxic waste seeped into the ground, contaminating the wildlife and creating horrific mutant creatures. People claim to have seen all manner of bizarre animals, from deer with extra limbs to a creature with glowing red eyes. But the most infamous of these creatures is the peninsula python, a massive snake-like beast said to roam the woods of Helltown, growing to unnatural sizes due to chemical exposure. While these stories are certainly terrifying, once again, there's no hard evidence to support the idea of mutant animals. No official records have ever documented abnormal wildlife in the area. Still, the legend of the peninsula python remains a chilling reminder of what could be lurking in shadows. So what is Helltown, Ohio? Is it truly a cursed, haunted place filled with dark forces, or is it simply just a forgotten village, abandoned and left to decay under the weight of its own history? The truth lies somewhere in between. While many of the stories are likely just urban legends, the eerie atmosphere of the place is undeniable. Perhaps it's the isolation, the decay, or the whispers of forgotten lives. But Helltown has become a symbol of the unknown. Maybe it's not a place itself that's cursed, but the stories we tell about it. Stories that feed off fear, curiosity, and the human desire to believe that there's more to the world than what we can see. Would you dare visit Helltown, Ohio after dark? Or would you turn away, haunted by the thought of what might be waiting for you in the shadows? It's Twin Paranormal. They're in the shadows. Until next time, guys, stay cautious. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Leave me your thoughts down below. Let me know how you liked the video. See you later.
Where others say